Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Sixth mantra. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyevanupashyati sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate. So what is the meaning? So today we will study Shankar Bhashyam. What Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji has written a very important commentary on this sixth mantra of Íśopanișad Upanishad. Yaha tu parivrad mumukshuhu sarvani bhutani avyaktadini sthavarantani atmani eva anupashyati atma vyatiriktani na pashyati iti arthaha. Yaha means he who, means the mendicant, means sannyasi, who wants to be freed, and anupashyati, sees. Anu means paschat, I told you. Kiske paschat? Shravan ki paschat. After listening to Shastra, a scripture from Guru, after listening to Guru Vakya, what he sees, how he sees, because after understanding first Sravanam, then Mananam, then Nididhyasanam, then Jagat. Bhagavan Sri Ram Krishna has told a very nice example. Hate tel mekhe kathal bhangte hai. If you want to break a jackfruit, you have to first oil your hand. Otherwise, the glue inside the jackfruit, it sticks and it doesn't go with the water. So first you have to put oil, then you can open up the jackfruit. What is that oil? That oil is knowledge. Knowledge of non-dual. Advaita Jnana Paschat. After that, if you come and transact in the world, no matters how the world is, it will never bind that person. So that is anupashyati. What he anupashyati? Sarvani bhutani, all beings, beginning from unmanifested and ending with the immobile, sthavara, jangama. Atmani eva, in the self. Atmani is saptami, adhikarana. Atmani eva, in the self. Self itself, eva. It means he does not see them as different from the self. Sarva bhuteshu cha, and in all those very beings sees Atmanam, the self, sees the self even of those beings as his own self. Thus, just as I, the soul of the body, which is an aggregate of cause and effects, that I am the witness of all perceptions. If I read the Bhashyam, it will be clear to you. Sarva bhuteshu teshu eva cha atmanam tesham api bhutanam swam atmanam atmatvena yatha asya dehasya karyakarana sanghatasya atma aham sarva pratyaya sakshi bhutah chetayita kevalah nirgunah anena eva swarupena avyaktadinam stavarantanam aham eva atma iti sarva bhuteshu cha atmanam nirvishesham yaha tu anupashyati sa tataha tasmad eva darshana na vijugupsate. Then Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji is giving the meaning of Vijugupsa. Vijugupsam grinam nakaroti praptasya eva anuvadah ayam. Sarvahi grina atmanaha anyat dushtam pasyatah bhavati. Atmanam eva atyanta vishuddham nirantaram pashyatah na ghrina nimittam arthantaram astiti praptam eva tataha na vijugupsate iti. So what happens? That I am the source of its consciousness. Of what? That I am the witness of everything else. But witness, how it is witness? When it is conscious. So I am the source of its consciousness. And I am pure and attributeless. Similarly, in the very aspect of mind, I am the soul of all. Beginning from the unmanifested to ending with the immobile. He who realizes the unconditioned self in all beings, thus, tataha means thus. By virtue of that vision, na vijugupsate, feels no hatred, does not hate. This is only a restatement of a known fact. For this is a matter of experience that all revulsion comes to one who sees something as bad and different from oneself, but for one who sees only the absolutely pure self as a continuous entity, there is no other object that can be the cause of revulsion. Therefore, he does not hate. Clear? So, what Gurudev says, we will just see a little bit of glimpse of it. Just a moment. As said in the previous mantra, if there be an Atma, so difficult to explain and naturally so difficult to understand, why should an individual, after all, strive to contact this self or to realize it? What would be the benefit accrued to an individual by realizing this uniform and all-pervading reality behind the multiplicity and plurality that we cognize around and about us? This stanza explains more vividly than in any other Upanishad about the state of perfect tranquility gained by a self-realized sage. And as such, this mantra has been oft-quoted and repeated in books and heard from platforms. It is certainly worthwhile for all seekers to remember constantly this mantra with all its implications and import. I would suggest that even those who do not know much of Sanskrit should somehow or other memorize this mantra, maintaining an association of the meaning with the sounds and keep it as a ready antidote for all the inner poisons of mental agitations and intellectual unrest. Gurudev, Pujyapad Srimad Swami Chinmayanandaji has told that self-realization is never completed by a mere recognition of the intrinsic divinity or perfection in the individual soul, which excludes the numberless souls in the pluralistic world. To realize one's own self is to realize at once its oneness with the total self. To realize the nature of a wave is to realize not only the nature of all the waves, but the very nature of the ocean, life being one and unbroken. To experience the life center within us is to experience at once the life center everywhere. A man who has thus fully and completely experienced the life principle, the self within him, which is the one that is all-pervading, such an individual's realization alone is true wisdom, eternal, immortal, and true. The one who has thus realized the core of all beings as the core in himself, and his own self as the self in every name and form, he is a sage, he is a prophet, he is a God man, he is a true leader of the people, and he is a guiding power in the universe. In realizing thus, the individual gets permanently divorced or divorced, I don't know, from all his mental ideas of repulsion, shrinking, dislike, fear, hatred, and such other perversions of feelings. These arise from a sense of division and plurality, and the consequent personal sense of opposition to other beings or objects around us. When all the hatred, means jugupsa, has dried away from the mind, and individual experiences an unbroken state of tranquility thereafter in all sets of circumstances, favorable or unfavorable, in the language of the world. The same state of mind has been described in the Bhagavad Gita by the term samatva. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Sri Aurobindo, Rishi Aurobindo, in his commentary on Íśopanișad, in a footnote explains this idea very vividly. He says, jugupsa is the feeling or repulsion caused by a sense of want of harmony between one's own limited self-formation and the contacts of the external, which consequent recoil of grief, fear, hatred, discomfort, and suffering. It is the opposite of attraction, which is the source of desire and attachment. Repulsion and attraction removed. We have samatva. The human individual is providing himself inefficient and ineffectual in this world of contentions, mainly because of his own agitations. A tranquil mind is as potent as God. The more we gain this inward tranquility or samatva, the more joyous and effective our lives become. But the enemy to this tranquility is our own jugupsa, and therefore one can easily understand how much one can rehabilitate one's own godly personality if one were to pursue the technique of spiritualism and eradicate from one's mental constitution this Shankar of jugupsa. Repulsion, hatred, shrinking, dislike, fear, doubt, depression, anxiety, and so on can come not with oneself but with another. The intellectual eye may dislike or fear or hate the mental eye at a given time and place. But here also there is a pluralistic concept. The other is always necessary for one to entertain jugupsa. When we have realized and are experiencing the oneness of the self, and when we have got more and more established in that experience, where can there be the other accepting the self? When the other has retreated, the mental perversion or jugupsa also disappears from the mind. This is the great goal of perfection pointed out by the great rishis. And we may add here that in no other religion of the world has this idea, has this scientific truth been so vividly explained as in Vedanta. The rishis knew that this idea, so subtle and unusual, may not be correctly understood by the students easily, and hence that is why there is also seventh mantra. Before that, I just want to summarize in my own way as it becomes very prominent. So, yastu sarvani bhutani. Tu means, tu indicates the change of the topic. And tu means durlabham, rare also. So yaha means he who sarvani bhutani atmani eva anupashyati. सबको अपने आत्मा जैसे देखते हैं और सर्वभूतेषु आत्मानम अनुपश्यति, और सारे वस्तुओं में खुद को देखते हैं. मीन्स अंदर में, बाहर में, ऊपर में, नीचे में, पास में, आत्मा ही आत्मा है. ततः, as a result of this knowledge, न विजुगुप्सते घृणानम करो. वो व्यक्ति किसी को घृणा नहीं करता. It doesn't hate anyone else. यह means sannyasi, the man of renunciation, and who really sits nearest to his guru and listen, meditate upon, contemplate upon, and who is sadhana chatushtaya sampanna, who is imbibed with fourfold spiritual practice, who is a seeker of liberation. Yaha means that person. And tu means the vision of that realized soul, of that seeker. Clear? So, he sees or visualizes the whole world with the physical eyes. But with the eyes of knowledge, he understands Atma is the substratum of everything else. Jnana chakshu se sirf Atma ko hi dikhai deta. Beginning with unmanifestation or unmanifest object to the subtle manifested and gross manifested. Means without Atma, he never sees anything else. And Atma ke andar hi sab kuch dekhte. Means ये नहीं कि आत्मा अलग वस्तु है और सारे जगत अलग वस्तु है. It's not that. That Atma is a different entity and the whole universe is another entity. It's not like that. All being in Atma and Atma is in all being. Means Atma alone is there. That is why in Guru Stotra, Madatma sarvabhutat. Tasmai Shri Gurave. So here oneness of Atma is shown. Vijugupsa means grina. Here anupashyati means constant seeing, nirantar darshan. Means after having gained this supreme knowledge, after having established in this knowledge, nirantar darshana means that vision never goes, that everything is in Atma and Atma in everything. That is anupashyati. Clear? Now the question, after reading so many texts, after having done so many classes, why can't we seize Atma in everywhere, in everything, and everything in Atma? Because pramana abhavat, absence of meaning, but means I will not tell anything else. But what I have understood, that Guru Upadeshat Anu. गुरु उपदेश अगर किसी को सच में सच्चे दिल में गुरु मानते तो उनको उपदेश जैसे पियर्सिंग and a real devotee, a real seeker always follows Guru Upadesha, the teachings of Guru, and then he starts seeing it. Suppose in older days, suppose 50 years back, suppose 20 years back, suppose one person or father works in the city and the whole family stays in the village. So mother wrote a letter to the dad that this thing is required for our son and daughter. What the person will do? Suppose the person loves his wife very much. Will he see the letter, read the letter, smell the letter years after years? Or which is the best expression of love? Oh, this much is required. He will keep the letter and he will go to acquire this. Guru Upadesha is like that. If we love our Guru, then whatever Guru says, after the teaching, we will then and there try. Because Guru Vakya is Sat Vakya. Because Guru has his own sayings. What Guru says, actually, Guru Parampara says, it's a sayings of a lineage. जो गुरु कहता है वो शास्त्र ही कहता है. इसलिए तत्पदम दर्शितम येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे. जिन्होंने सबके अंदर खुद को देखते हैं, कैसे घृणा कर सकते? कोई आदमी पूरा दुनिया को घृणा कर सकते हैं लेकिन खुद को कभी घृणा नहीं कर सकते. Ikshate yoga yuktatma. Bhagavad Gita, it is there. Through this sloka, it has been told that Atma and other things, all beings are not separate. Like the ocean and the waves. They are not the separate entity. They are one only. From outside we see that ocean is waves, 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 waves. If you concentrate in waves, you can't get the definition of ocean. Waves have no separate existence. Only samudra, ocean is there. That is why in first mantra, Upanishad has told, Íśopanișad idagum sarvam. In Bhagavad Gita, it has told, who has that vision, Adveshta sarvabhutana maitra, maitri karuna evacha. उन्होंने किसी को घृणा नहीं की. हरि ओम तत्सत, हरि ओम तत्सत.